Where did you get that question from, Iggy?
We were eating dinner, and you said, that's a question you could consider asking. If you get an offensive lineman alone, just ask them the difference between the quarterbacks in the huddle. And I thought, that's a great idea. So thank you, Dad. I owe you a nickel for that.
A nickel. Okay. Yeah. Please tell people what was said.
So I asked them, what's the difference between them in the huddle? And football players are a little nervous to say differences. So at first they're like, they're so similar. They've both played some really high level, tense moments, but Mac just has this ability to sort of keep things light in the huddle, where Brock is sort of more like laser focused. And I'm like, when you say like keep things light, you say like he makes you laugh. He's like, no, he's not cracking jokes. He just sort of like alleviates the tension. And he didn't say that. He didn't say like as opposed to Brock, but he just kept making the point that Mac has this sort of like light touch. And I think like the opposite of that would be sort of like a tightness. Anyway, when he said that stuff about Mac, it reminded me of Joe Montana and the things that people used to say about him, the John Candy line. I thought it was kind of a cool distinction. I appreciate Trent Williams for humoring me.
Tell the story about John Candy.
So this is before my time, but I just went back and watched a documentary on it. It's on YouTube. And it was like the final drive of the Super Bowl against the Bengals. So might have been 89. And Harris Barton is everyone's nervous. Harris Barton's in the huddle. He may have been a rookie. He's young. And Joe Montana said he was vibrating. He was so nervous. So to calm him down, he pointed out John Candy in the stands and said, hey, there's hey, Harris. It's John Candy right over there. And Harris is like, oh, you're right. And it just sort of relieved the tension for everyone. And they marched down the field like it was a Tuesday at practice and won the Super Bowl. So it was one of the nice touches that Joe Montana could provide.
They were trailing, right, Iggy?
I believe they were.
They had to come from behind.
You were there.
Here's the thing. I was there.
Yeah.
I forget. So I apologize. I forget the games. If it's a fight, I remember.
No, I think you're right. I think they were losing. They were going to lose that game.
They were losing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bill was calm on the sideline where he's going.
I don't think he noticed John Candy.
I don't think I don't think he knew who John Candy was.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have some questions about. First of all, Trent was not saying one was better than the other.
No,
he was not making an evaluation. He was making a description. Right. And clearly both are effective with the way they are. I think Steve was probably more like Brock Purdy. And Joe is more like Mac Jones.
Yep.
Not a bad choice. Choice.
Yep.
Okay. Some questions. Why would you go to an offensive lineman to ask the question, how are they different in the huddle, as opposed to a wide receiver or a running back?
Because an offensive lineman is more sensitive and would notice more things about other people, as opposed to a wide receiver who's probably thinking about, am I getting the ball in this play? No. Fuck.
Right. My experience was I always talk to the offensive linemen. They're the most observant, and I believe had the highest intelligence. Why did you pick Trent Williams?
Because he's the oldest player on the team. He's a real grown-up, and he would observe these two young quarterbacks from a distance of maturity that I think. And so I appreciated his perspective. Although I'm sure Dominic Pooney and Colton McKivitz would have done a good job too, but someone so much older who's been in so many huddles with so many quarterbacks, I kind of liked his perspective.
I love it. Those are good answers. Yeah.
And he's so good. Like, he won the Niver Award last year. He could win it every year. He's always sitting in his locker. He's never in a rush. He answers your question in a good spirit. And he's thoughtful and smart. I mean, he's a dream.
You said I would like him if I knew him.
Yes. Very much. You talk to him every week. I mean, for the same reason you like Joe Staley, just a real grown-up, an offensive lineman. You love offensive linemen. I'm usually talking to the defensive backs, but I like the offensive linemen too.
I love talking to Joe Staley. Joe Staley had such a ethical core. He was such a person you could admire. Joe Staley,
Yep.
person you could
Absolutely.
admire. Yeah,
Yes. In every way. Yep.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. A cliche. Joe Staley is a gentleman,
Yeah. Just as gentlemen. That's true.
and he also has wickedness, a sense of humor, uh, all of that.
I don't know if Trent Williams is a gentleman all the time. I have no idea. But to the media, he absolutely is. He's
Yeah,
everything Joe Staley was. Maybe
yeah,
Joe Staley was
and
funnier. Joe Staley had a wicked deadpan sense of humor that was very
absolutely.
unique. Yeah.
And you loved it, and you were waiting
Oh,
for it, right?
so good. Because he
Right.
was almost undetectable. He would barely crack a smile, but it was there. It was great.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a smart guy.
Okay.
All right, one more. David Double B Studio says John Candy scene in the movie Draft Day is awesome. What's your favorite John Candy movie?
I was never into him.
I
I'm sorry.
remember him in Spaceballs. Spaceballs. Anyway, Dad, I liked the bonus topic. We wanted to talk about this all week, but I forgot.
But I didn't.
You didn't. That's that 147.
8. 147. 147 is welterweight.
Right. I'm talking about my dad's IQ right now. I almost shorted him 1 point, and he.
You know,
I never took an IQ test because that's a lot of pressure. 148. Damn.
I got to tell you, can I tell them the IQ story?
Yes. Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code Cohn, COHN, and download the app now.
Okay. By the way, this is in my book that is now on Amazon, Brooklyn Jew.
Check it out. Brooklyn Jew. Even if you're not a Jew from Brooklyn, it's good.
So here's the story. My mom, Eve, she was so wonderful. She taught the 6th grade in PS 92 when I was in the 6th grade at PS 193. So they were a few miles apart, but I went to the one in the neighborhood, 193, which is now called the Gil Hodges School. One particular Friday, we had the citywide, or it might have been statewide, IQ test. And in a Jewish family in the 1950s, being intelligent and going to a good college was really important.
Life and death, right?
Life and death. Because they thought if you went to a good college, you could be a lawyer and you could marry a wonderful woman and have
You
a
can
happy
make it in
life.
America.
You can make it. Of course, it's complete bullshit. But
Yeah.
my Eve and my dad, Mickey, they didn't know that stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I take the IQ test on Friday. Now, it's Saturday morning. I had breakfast. We had a playground across the street, and I used to go and spent my life in the playground playing. So I had my breakfast, and I'm getting ready to put on my kids and go across the street. And my mom says, hey, Lowell, are you done with the breakfast? I said, yeah, Mom. I'm going to just go across the street and play in the playground. She said, wait a minute. Wait before you go. She says, are you feeling relaxed? I said, yeah. Why wouldn't I feel relaxed?
This doesn't sound good.
No, and I had no idea.
You're not taking me to the ice cream store now.
So she says, you know that test you took yesterday? I said, yeah, like the IQ test, right? She goes, yeah. All of a sudden, she reaches down to a chair by the kitchen table and she gets out a manila envelope. I was 11.
Yeah.
And she pulls out, she says, you see this here? And there's all these pages. She says, this is the IQ test you took yesterday. And she says, Lowly, sweetie, here's what I want you to do. Answer it exactly the same way you answered it yesterday. Don't change your answers at all. And can you do that? I said, I think I can. And she said, after that, you can go out and play. So I filled it out. And then my mother and my father knew my IQ, i.e., was Lowell, quote, college material. Iggy, right?
Yeah.
They used to talk about college material, and they knew my brother and sister were, but since I was always watching boxing matches and playing in the street, they didn't know if I was college material, and they wanted to have some guidance. Maybe I would be a car mechanic or something. Not putting
Your
down
whole
car
future
mechanic
was decided in that moment.
Yeah, at the kitchen table when I wanted to go out and play.
And they decided at 11, they're like, Lowell's going to be a lawyer. And you're like, no, the fuck I'm not.
Yeah, I pretended for a while. Oh, yeah. Because my brother was supposed to be the doctor. He was the oldest. He had the doctor slot. My sister, the younger one, she was going to be a teacher, and she was. I had the lawyer slot, and my dad was a lawyer, but I didn't fulfill the slot.
Shame on you. Did your brother have a higher IQ?
160 something.
Fuck.
My brother was so smart.
See, if I took one and it was like 111, you would think less of me. So I'm never going to take that.
Yeah, but you went to UCLA. Not that you did that well at UCLA. How did you do it?
I made it fucking here.
How'd you do with dinosaurs?
The one class that I got a C+ in. People don't forget. See, because the thing is, my dad paid. I got the privilege. My dad paid for my college, so I don't have crippling debt. And he was cool with me getting B's, but when I got that 1 C+, he was like, hey, what am I paying for, buddy? Like, hey, I'm having a good overall enriching experience. Like, that's fine,
what he told me.
Fucking C+.
Who was in your dinosaurs class?
Russell Westbrook.
Okay, enough about that.
That's how old I am. And I'm sure he got a better grade in that class than me. Positive.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot.
Well, I don't.
But I got a 3.4 at UCLA after starting off with, I got it back. I was a fourth quarter performer. A lot of people were talking about how I finished up at UCLA. They were impressed. A lot of people.
Yeah, you got Pinheiro. That's what happened.
May the Schwartz be with you, says Seven Dennis. That's a Spaceballs reference. Dad, for the 50th consecutive week, this has been our best show of all time. And I want everyone to know that I love you.
I love you, Iggy. Have a nice Saturday.
You too. See you guys. Thanks for watching.
Everybody.